Hey friends, welcome back. My name is Kim, and this video is just going to be a good old reading chat. I'm going to talk about the 3 books that I have finished recently, the books that I'm in the middle of, and what I hope to do as far as content and videos on this channel for the rest of this year, which as of today, it's December 22nd. So I have like a week left, I think about, and then maybe even potentially early into the new year. So we'll jump right in. We'll start with the books that I have finished recently, starting off with a strong note, and that is Five Tuesdays in Winter by Lily King. This is her short story collection, and right off the bat, I would say, like, if you're curious about Lily King's writing, or you want to get into her books, I'd say that this is a good place to start. I think, this is just a good representation of her writing, and also what I really like about her writing as well. Like, it's very intimate and detailed in the way that she writes her characters. Like, they all feel very whole and very fleshed out in their own way. They feel like they come right off the page, and I think it's really talented because some of these stories are like 10 or 15 pages long, like not a ton to work with as far as building out a whole character. And as a reader, you kind of get to know the character, their motivations, their feelings, and just kind of who they are, generally speaking, within the context of whatever is going on within each of these stories. But she does it. She's a master at it. On the back, it says King is one of the finest cartographers of the human heart, and that's from Esquire. I would absolutely agree. Like, this is a perfect representation of why I really like her writing, and I can't wait to reread some of the books maybe next year, or even read some of her backlist that I haven't read yet. Now, not every story resonated with me, but I feel like that's just kind of what to expect when you read a short story collection. Not everything is going to be incredible, but some of my favorite stories was Waiting for Charlie and then Five Tuesdays in Winter. Tonally, two very different stories, but I also think, like, really Five Tuesdays in Winter is like, it's kind of got some humor in it. It's about an older fellow who runs a bookshop, and he has a crush on one of his coworkers, and he has a desire to kind of like want to develop a bit more of a connection with her, or just like he's got a crush on her. And also the state of this bookstore, the customers that come in, they're kind of like don't always appreciate literature or like books themselves. Like, they had one customer come in and she wanted to buy a set of books that where the colors were like going to match her walls or her curtains or something like that. So just, it was very tonally very funny. And then Waiting for Charlie's only 10 pages long, and I definitely got teary-eyed after I read that one. It's about this grandfather, and he's visiting his granddaughter in the hospital, and she's currently in a coma, medically induced coma. And he has these like little scent bottles, these bottles with this like oils in them or stuff, something. And so the intent is to put them underneath her nose, so then it kind of triggers brain activity. And before he, at first, he's just kind of like a grumpy old guy. He's just like, oh, this is so dumb. And then before he would put them under her nose for her to smell, he would smell them, and it would trigger all these memories that he had with her, his granddaughter. And oh my goodness, like, it was an incredible story. I definitely, like, when I think about this short story collection, I think about that book specifically. And I think I finished this near the end of November, I think. Yeah, so it's been a few weeks, and I'm still thinking about that story. And the last line in Waiting for Charlie, oh my goodness, it was just incredible. There's a pretty consistent theme within all these short stories of desire. So, desire for comfort somewhere or in something, desire for connection with another person. That's definitely very strong, especially the stories that stand out to me. The desire for connection with another person, whether that be a granddaughter, like I just talked about, or even like a mother and a daughter relationship, desire for human connection in some way, or even simply desire for another person, like a crush, a fascination kind of a thing. So I thought it was very consistent and very well written, and I enjoyed it. Will I reread it? I probably won't reread every single short story in here, but I do think I'll return to some of the short stories in the future. The next one that I want to chat about, I'm so happy about this, and that is Golden Sun by Pierce Brown. I really, really liked this book. This was a great second book, especially if you watched my book review video for Red Rising, which is the first book in the Red Rising series. This is the second book, and I definitely felt like I enjoyed Red Rising, but I wouldn't say that the reading experience was like I was super gung ho. I enjoyed it cover to cover. You know, I definitely felt like I was trying to get my footing in the first book a little bit more, and this one is a lot more of a zoomed in look at certain aspects within this world and in certain characters, and I really, really enjoyed this a lot. I'm trying to move away from talking about like star ratings with books per se and really just try to make sure I'm using my words to describe what I enjoyed about the book. Not that there's anything wrong with using star ratings, but if I assigned a star rating to this, it would be 5 stars. I really, really like this. This was excellent. I thought that the character development, Darrow's character development, he's the main character in this world. I thought it was really well done. And I really ended up feeling for Darrow at the end of the book. And there were certain chapters that really went into kind of like his feelings and his emotions aside from all the politicking and the strategizing going on. Like, I think Pierce Brown just did an excellent job building out Darrow's character in this and making him have depth. The first book, he was definitely like a young teenager, and that was very apparent. And in this one, he has heavy responsibilities on his shoulders, and you can see that he's definitely grown up very, very quickly. And then as far as the plotting and the pacing, I think it's excellent in here. At no point did I feel bored or wanting to move on to the next thing or looking to, just the things to move on. None of that. There's also a character list in here, which I really appreciated quite a bit. I definitely referred back to that a few times, but yeah, I would absolutely like if you're watching this and similar to me, you felt kind of middle of the road about the first book, like that could have been the one book you read and the be one and done. Keep going. It definitely gets a lot better. I'm excited to pick up the third book eventually. I'm hoping to pick it up. I don't know if I will before the end of the year, but definitely for sure either within the next week or at the start of the new year. Because, yeah, the way that this had ended was very, very shocking. And then the next book that I had read, which I am not super happy with that, like unfortunately I just feel like I'm outside of the club on this one, like I feel like I'm missing out on something, and that is The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. Now I understand, like, how do I start with this one? Because this is so well loved, I feel scared to talk about this. Like a lot of the people who really enjoy reading classics consistently, like this was the one book that I heard pretty consistently when I was trying to build like a bit of a TBR of classics to read. This one definitely intrigued me based on the synopsis. You know, Dorian Gray has his portrait painted, and in the portrait, he realizes how youthful and beautiful he looks. And so he wants to stay youthful and beautiful forever. And so he kind of makes a deal, some deal with the devil, whatever you want to call it. And he stays youthful forever. Meanwhile, the picture ages instead. I don't think it's a spoiler to say that because, again, it's a classic. I think everybody knows what this book is about. But I would say, like, my reading experience with the book, I cannot say that I enjoyed this thoroughly. I think that the reading experience felt very, like, fragmented for myself. Like there would be times where I'd be reading it and I would really get into a flow and it'd be like, okay, I'm enjoying this, like I got a grasp on it, a flow, not necessarily pacing, but just like a reading flow. And then there would be other moments, many moments within this where the writing was just so dense that I just could not get into a proper flow. And I'd be reading and I'm like, what is this sentence trying to say? What is going on here? Or just like, what is the point of this whole monologue? What is the point of this whole paragraph? And I genuinely, like, sit there, think about it. It's not that I couldn't grasp it or anything, it just was so dense that I couldn't get into a flow, and it just felt very fragmented, and these dense parts would really be quite often. My first hurdle with this book really was Lord Henry. And I get like he's a very intentionally unlikable character, and I have said multiple times on this channel that I don't mind unlikable characters, especially if they're written very well. Um, but my goodness, he tested my patience with this. I was like, I don't know, it was interesting. I definitely went to some Reddit threads about it, like literally picture of Dorian Gray and Lord Henry, and seeing kind of what other people were saying about his character. And like I was reading that people were saying like look at him as though he's kind of Satan, which I was kind of picking up on a little bit. And so I was like, okay, like this guy, he's intentionally supposed to test the reader's patience, and like, so I think Oscar Wilde did a good job like with the story and achieving what he wanted to achieve, even with just the portrayal of like a society that values beauty and youthfulness above all else, above intelligence even. And I think that that was achieved quite well. Like I got it right, like I understood what was happening. And then I definitely got to a point, and I think it was about 70% in, where it picked back up for me, like as far as enjoyment and reading experience. And then slowly dipped back down again, and I finished it to finish it because I don't know, ego. I don't know. I just wanted to know what, like, I want to be in the club of like why everybody loves this book, and I would read some reviews that were very well worded and just um, written about how wonderful the book is and the themes in it, and just like how wonderful it is and how they go back to it all the time. And I'm like, okay, clearly I'm missing something. And then those reviews, I read them about halfway, and then they really helped me kind of like power through. And I was like, hey, clearly maybe I just like haven't, maybe it's just me, I'm not able to get into a reading flow. Maybe it's not the right time, maybe like whatever the case may be. So I did put the book down for a little bit and read a whole other book in between, and then got back to it thinking I just needed a break. And now I'm ready to pick it back up and have this reading experience that everybody else has with this book. And really, like, it's a classic, so it's like I'm going to read it because it's very pivotal. And then yeah, unfortunately I did not have the same reading experience that other people have with this. Definitely makes me scared to talk about it in this way because I know it's very well loved. And I definitely am in the minority, so do not take my review with like a large, put a ton of weight into it, because clearly it just didn't land for me. I'm the minority in this case, and there's so many reviews on Storygraph that are paragraphs long talking about how great this book is. And that definitely, again, influenced me to pick it back up, to kind of continue reading into it. But unfortunately, it just was not for me. My classics endeavor is now, how many classics have I read? One, two, I think three this year so far. I'm trying to get more into it. And so I would say that this, of the like very small handful of classics I have read this year, this one's kind of been the one that's, I don't know, I haven't thoroughly enjoyed per se, but the other ones that I have read, I'm like, okay, like this is impressive. I really enjoyed these. And, don't get me wrong, I can read dense writing, no problem. But I definitely need to be able to get into a flow with it. And so I really should have just put it down, regardless of trying to understand why people loved it. I spent a lot of time in this book, which is, again, not an issue. Like, it took me, I think, a month and a half to read Frankenstein. So, not that that necessarily says anything, but definitely I should have just waved the white flag and just been like, okay, like this one's just clearly not it for me, I don't think. Now, as far as what I'm in the middle of, I am happily, very excitedly halfway through You Again by Kate Goldbeck. This is a reread for me. I talked about this in my end of year kind of TBR video. I read this, I think, a couple years ago, maybe a year ago, and I am just so enjoying the reread experience of this, honestly. So what is this about? This is Ari, this is Josh. Ari and Josh are the complete opposite personality types. Ari is definitely more type B, and Josh is type A. Very regimented. He's a chef, and just very particular in his ways. He has an idea of how relationships and his life is supposed to go, and things don't really quite go according to plan for him, and it's really difficult for him to come to terms with that. And then Ari, being very type B, she, does one night stands quite often. She does not wake up in the same bed that she goes to sleep in. She doesn't believe in like very big like wedding commitments or marriage and things like that. However, these two meet each other when they're like I said, like two complete opposite personalities of each other. They could not be in more different spots in their life. Josh is trying to make a relationship work. Ari just literally finished hooking up with somebody when Josh comes over to make her roommate and his girlfriend dinner. And so yeah, they clash right away. Two opposite personalities. And this book is set up. I love it the way it's set up. So they meet each other and then doesn't go well. They clearly don't like each other. And then 3 years later, they encounter each other again in a specific circumstance. Again, very opposite of each other. And they don't love, like, really, really like each other. But yeah, they meet each other again. And then another 3 or 4 years later, same thing. And every time they see each other, their circumstances kind of change. Their outlook on life and what's supposed to happen kind of change a little bit. And now, the next time they kind of meet each other in like present day, both their circumstances have changed, not for the better. They're both kind of down in the dumps. They are very critical on relationships, on love, and what, if there's somebody out there for them. They both have been hurt, and so then they are kind of a comfort for each other. They watch movies together over the phone with each other. They are texting like almost every day, and really just platonically starting out, just kind of like being there for each other. Like they're both going through similar chapters for once in their life. They're both in very similar life circumstances, and so they're just trying to help each other out. But obviously, it's a romance, so you can kind of guess it eventually a romance develops between the two, but just the way it is playing out, I'm really enjoying it. I'm chuckling, I'm laughing, I'm really enjoying both of Josh and Ari. I could definitely see how some readers may find Ari annoying. Like she's definitely the kind of person where if she has extra cash, she'll put it towards wine or beer rather than like a rent or finding, I don't know, food. So she's definitely a very unique personality for sure, but yeah, definitely really liking it. I know what's going to happen, but I am just enjoying the ride the same way that I did when I initially read it. So the rereading experience is going quite well. Sometimes rereading feels a little bit dicey because I'm like, oh, what if I really liked it at one point and then upon reread, I'm like, what was I thinking? I'm really scared for that to happen because I have not had that yet with rereading, but I know it's going to come at some point. I know it is. All right. And then the other book that I was in the middle of and I decided to DNF it today is A Merry Little Meet Cute by, I don't quite remember their names, Jasmine something and then Sierra Simone. Sorry, the book will be up here. But so this is a Christmas themed romance. And it was funny because Caitlin over at Spill the Reads had talked about this in her holiday books video a couple weeks ago, or might have been a week ago. Time is a weird concept. And it was funny because when I was watching that, I was like, oh, I just started this book. Like, interesting. And Caitlin was kind of saying how, like, it was an okay book. A lot of it is just these two characters who, like, can't keep their hands off of each other and are trying to keep their hands off of each other. And yeah, I don't know. I would definitely agree. It's the substance, I suppose, of the book and the romance itself was kind of lacking. Like it, and I was reading this at the same time, and it's interesting reading, like for me anyways, what I would think as a well done romance versus a romance that I'm not totally enjoying at this point in time. Or the reason why I go to romance is because I kind of want to chuckle. I want to follow along with two people that I'm like, yeah, I want them to be together. It's so cute to read their little journey to becoming together. And if it's not that feeling for me, I'm kind of like, well, like, I don't know. Am I just reading this for, why am I reading this, right? Especially when I'm reading another romance that I am really enjoying it, like kind of doling the way the author doles out the story and delivers it. So, but anyways, A Merry Little Me Cute, it is about Bea and Nolan. And Bea is like an adult film star, and she has this account on something called like Closed Doors, which is very akin to OF. And basically Nolan is a subscriber to that, and so he knows who she is kind of like in that context, and they end up both being cast on this movie together. And as soon as he sees her, he's like, holy crap, that's so and so. And she has like a different name that she works under in the adult film industry. And then she sees him, and he's like a previous boy band member that she was really obsessed with, like had a big crush on him. And so she was like, holy crap, it's Nolan from so and so. And so immediately they've kind of like very attracted to, I think, like the idea of each other and how they've known each other within the context of like their celebrity-ness, I suppose. I just haven't seen the connection being built with each other, these two characters, and like even just like a friendship, like being built between these two. Like I just haven't really seen it. Like nothing's really being shown to me. It's all being told to me. Um, and so yeah, I'm just not really loving it. And so I hit about 65% today or last night, and I was like, do I want to read 40% more of this? I don't really know. Yeah, it's a DNF, but that's okay. It's not the book for me, but that is quite all right. It's a book for lots of other people out there, and I'm definitely getting my fill of like seasonal romance giddiness from you again, so it's okay. Now, as far as like what my video plans are for the remainder of the year, I do want to do a favorites video, favorite books of 2025. I am in the middle, obviously, of You Again, and I think that rereading that is going to be another favorite from this year. I have been noticing, and I noticed this last year, that people are putting out their favorite books of the year videos earlier and earlier. Like I feel like last year people were starting to put them out like first 2 weeks of December. And so obviously you got to film and you got to edit it, so it's a little bit earlier than when it gets actually posted. And I'm like, but you have a whole month left. Like, what if you read a book that is also a favorite of 2025 in December, you know? But I don't know. I find it interesting. So people can post whatever videos whenever they want. I just, in my mind, you'll see that video for me coming out in the last week of December or even the first week of January, once I've kind of finished all my readings from 2025. So, and then other than that, I will be doing a video on, sorry, this is like a long thing. This is my reading journal. It has like a whole thing you can wrap around it, and also my TBR journal is in a different room. But I'll be doing a video kind of going over both of those and how I built those out, and kind of like the creators who inspired me to make both of those things. And then what else? I think that that's pretty much it. I kind of have a bit of a TBR set for next year already based on some reading challenges that I'll be taking part in. So I'll probably do a video just talking about those reading challenges that I'm going to be doing next year and how that will, yeah, impact my reading, I suppose, for 2026. Wild that it is 2026. I'm so excited to say goodbye to 2025. Like, it's not even funny. So, but anyways, yeah, like I said, it's December 22nd where I am. So the week of Christmas. If you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. If not, Happy Holidays. Hope you're having a fun time with your family and your friends. Just enjoying this time of year in general. I know it's also a pretty difficult time of year for a lot of people. And so, you know, also take care of yourself in whatever way that looks like. But yeah, I hope you are enjoying what you're reading, and I will see you in the next video.